Hello, everyone. Welcome back to today's story. In this episode, after spending the night at the farm with Tuna and baby Henry, Alex returns home, only to face his mother's fierce anger and accusations. She can't accept that her son, a successful businessman, has fallen for a woman from the countryside. What begins as a mother's worry quickly turns into a storm of pride, fear, and misunderstanding. But Alex, for the first time, stands his ground and chooses to defend the woman who gave him peace when his world was falling apart. Stay with us until the end to see how love, honesty, and courage collide when family expectations meet the truth of the heart. And don't forget to subscribe to help us reach 10,000 subscribers. Your support means the world to us. Morning light floods the modern living room as Alex steps through the doorway, still smelling faintly of smoke from the farm's kitchen fire. His jacket carries the scent of damp grass and chicken feed. He sets down his keys gently, hoping to sneak past unnoticed. But before he can even remove his shoes, a sharp voice slices the air. "Where were you last night?" Alex freezes. His mother, Mrs. Puang, stands by the staircase, arms crossed tightly over her chest. Her hair is perfectly combed, her silk pajamas untouched by sleep. The look in her eyes, cold, knowing, sends a jolt straight through him. "Mom, I told you, I was checking the irrigation system at the farm. It was too late to drive back." Her eyebrows arch. "Too late? You're telling me you, the CEO of a company with hundreds of employees, couldn't find a hotel room in the city? Or maybe you found something else more comfortable?" Alex's throat tightens. "It's not like that." "Oh, please." She slams her cup onto the table, tea sloshing over the rim. "I wasn't born yesterday, Alex. The neighbors talk. The workers talk. You think word doesn't reach me? You stayed the night at the farm with that woman." Her words hit like thunder. "Tuna's name," Alex corrects softly, "is Tuna, and she's not. Don't say she's not what I think." His mother cuts him off. "I've seen the photos. You holding her baby. You carrying baskets together like some married couple. You think this is what your father worked his whole life for? For you to throw it away because of a woman from the countryside?" Silence fills the space between them. Outside, a bird chirps faintly, as if trying to break the tension. Alex lowers his eyes, voice calm but firm. "That woman you're talking about stayed up half the night cooking so I could eat after work. She's the one who looked after me when the stress nearly broke me. She's the reason I'm still standing, Mom." Mrs. Puang stares, taken aback by the quiet conviction in his tone. For a brief moment, her anger wavers, but pride reignites it instantly. "You sound like a fool. You think she's doing this out of love? She's after your money, Alex, your sympathy. That's what people like her do. They cling to someone with status and never let go." Alex shakes his head, jaw tightening. "You don't know her." His mother steps closer, voice trembling with fury. "I know women like her. I've seen them my entire life. They wait for a man like you. Lonely, overworked, desperate for comfort. And then they slip in with kind eyes and soft words. Before you know it, you've forgotten who you are. You've forgotten your family." Her tone softens just slightly. "You think she really loves you? Once you lose your company, your position, let's see if she's still around." Alex exhales, trying to steady his voice. She doesn't care about my company, Mom. She didn't even know who I was when we met. She just... He stops, realizing how pointless it is to explain feelings to someone who measures worth in reputation and wealth. Enough! Mrs. Puang's voice cracks like a whip. You slept at that farm. You humiliated me. Do you have any idea what people will say? That my son, the respectable businessman, spent the night with a single mother in a chicken coop? What's next, Alex? You'll marry her and raise someone else's child? Her words sting deeper than any slap. Alex's hands curl into fists, but he stays silent. Look at me, she demands. You owe your father's legacy more than this. He looks up, eyes filled with quiet defiance. Maybe his legacy isn't what I want anymore. The room falls utterly still. For the first time, Mrs. Puang seems to lose her breath. What did you just say? Alex walks past her toward the window, where sunlight spills over the floor like calm water. All my life, I've done what this family expected. Built the business, played the perfect son. But when I nearly lost everything, the only person who didn't care about my title was her. She just wanted me to rest, to eat, to breathe. Mrs. Puang's voice lowers, trembling between anger and disbelief. You're changing, Alex, and not for the better. Maybe, he says quietly, I'm finally changing for myself. The air between them turns heavy. She sits down, suddenly weary, but pride refuses to let her show it. You're blinded by infatuation. It'll pass. It always does. Alex turns, face calm but distant. This isn't infatuation. It's peace. Mrs. Puang's lips tighten. Then you can have your peace away from this house. Because as long as you live here under my roof, I will not tolerate you disgracing our name. Her words land like stones. For a long time, neither speaks. Finally, Alex nods slowly. Then maybe it's time I find a roof that feels like home. He picks up his coat. His mother stands abruptly. Alex, don't you dare walk out that door. He pauses, glancing at her reflection in the mirror, strong, proud, yet trembling at the edges. Mom, he says softly, I'm not walking away from you. I'm walking toward the life I've been too scared to live. He steps outside. The door closes behind him with a quiet, final click. Mrs. Puang stands motionless. The house feels emptier than it ever has. Her tea has gone cold. Her son's words echo, and for a brief moment, guilt flickers behind her anger. She whispers to herself, that woman, she's taking him away from me. Her hands tremble as she pulls out her phone. Find everything you can about her, she orders the person on the other end. Family, past, debts, everything. When the call ends, she stares through the window, watching the gray sky deepen. She tells herself it's protection. But in truth, it's fear. The fear of losing the one person she built her whole life around. Meanwhile, out on the quiet country road, Alex drives back toward the farm. The smell of wet soil and green leaves grows stronger as he nears the fields. He feels the anger, the exhaustion, the ache of the confrontation. But underneath it all, there's something else. Peace. As the small farmhouse comes into view, Lytuna steps out, baby Henry in her arms, her hair loose in the morning wind. She waves, smiling gently, unaware of the storm that just broke behind him. Alex steps from the car, and for the first time in years, he smiles. Not the polished public smile his mother taught him, but something real, raw, and quietly certain. "Breakfast again?" Tuna calls playfully. "Only if it's your noodles," he answers, his voice warm. She laughs softly, and in that laughter, all the weight he carried seems to dissolve. But neither of them knows. Somewhere in the city, his mother has already set things in motion that will soon test just how strong their fragile love really is. The air at the farm hums with life. Roosters crowing, wind sweeping through bamboo leaves, the smell of freshly dug soil mingling with the faint aroma of garlic and broth. Alex takes off his jacket and hangs it by the door. Tuna turns from the stove, eyes lighting up with a warmth that immediately softens the exhaustion still clinging to him. "You're back early," she says with a gentle smile. "Couldn't stay away," he replies, stepping closer. His voice carries a calm she hasn't heard in him for weeks. Tuna chuckles, ladling steaming soup into a bowl. "You didn't even eat breakfast before leaving, did you?" He grins faintly. "I didn't have an appetite until now." Their eyes meet for a brief moment, a quiet connection that speaks of late nights, small kindnesses, and unspoken gratitude. Baby Henry sits in his crib nearby, kicking his legs, laughter bubbling from his lips. The sound melts the tension still lingering from the confrontation that morning. As Alex kneels to play with the child, Tuna watches from behind the stove. Something about this image, the powerful man who once spoke in boardrooms, now crouched on the dusty floor, making funny faces for a baby, fills her chest with a mix of tenderness and fear. She knows too well that peace like this rarely lasts. After lunch, they step outside. The winter sun shines weak but steady, glinting off puddles left by last night's rain. Alex helps her hang wet clothes along the bamboo line, water dripping onto the soil. "You really don't have to," Tuna says softly. "I want to," he replies, handing her another clothespin. It feels good to do something simple. For a moment, everything is quiet except the rhythmic flap of drying shirts. Then Tuna finally asks, "Did your mom say anything?" Alex's hand freezes midair. He forces a small smile. "You know her, always worried." But his tone betrays something deeper. Tuna steps closer, studying his face. "She scolded you, didn't she?" He exhales, laughing weakly. Scolded would be an understatement. She practically declared war. Tuna looks away, guilt rising in her chest. "I knew this would happen. You should have gone home last night. People might talk." Alex turns to her, his expression gentle but firm. "Let them talk. I'm done living for what people say." "Still," she insists, voice trembling slightly, "I don't want to be the reason you fight with your family." He takes her hand, dirt still on his fingers, his touch warm and grounding. "You're not the reason, Na. You're the reminder of what matters." Before she can answer, the sharp growl of an engine echoes down the dirt path. A black car stops at the edge of the farm. The driver steps out, sleek suit, polished shoes, and opens the back door. Mrs. Puang emerges. Tuna's breath catches. She hadn't expected this. Not today. Not like this. Alex stiffens beside her, already sensing the storm coming. "Mom?" he says, walking toward her cautiously. "Why are you here?" She doesn't answer. Her gaze sweeps over the house, the field, the simple clay pots, the drying laundry. Her expression twists between disgust and disbelief. So this is where you've been living? My son, the director of an export company, sleeping in a shack? Alex clenches his jaw. It's not a shack, Mom. It's her home. Mrs. Puang turns to Tuna, voice sharp as broken glass. So you're the reason my son's been throwing away everything he worked for. Tuna lowers her head respectfully. Madam, please don't misunderstand. I never. Misunderstand? Mrs. Puang cuts in. I understand perfectly. You're clever. You know how to look helpless, how to make a man feel needed. I've seen this act before. Mom, that's enough, Alex interjects, his tone tight. But Mrs. Puang isn't done. She steps closer to Tuna. Tell me, how long have you been planning this? Since the day you met him? Did you know he's the only heir to the Puang family's business? Is that why you let him stay the night? Tuna's eyes glisten. No, ma'am. He came because he was tired. I didn't. Stop lying. The sound of the slap rings through the cold air before anyone can react. Tuna's head jerks to the side, cheek burning red. Baby Henry starts crying from the crib inside the house. For a second, even the wind seems to stop. Alex's voice explodes. Mom! He grabs his mother's arm, trembling with anger. Don't you ever touch her again. Mrs. Puang stares at her son, disbelief turning into horror. You're defending her? Against your own mother? Yes, he says, voice steady. Because you're wrong about her. You don't see what I see. Enlighten me then, she spits. What do you see in her? A widow with a child that's not yours? A burden that will drag you down? Alex steps forward until they're almost face to face. I see someone who makes me human again. The words slice through the air. For a moment, even Mrs. Puang can't speak. Tuna wipes her tears quickly, trying to gather her composure. Please, don't fight because of me. I'll leave if that's what it takes. But Alex shakes his head. No one's leaving. Mrs. Puang's lips tremble, fury and heartbreak twisting her expression. You've chosen her then? Over your family? Alex's voice softens, but his eyes are unwavering. I'm not choosing sides, Mom. I'm choosing to stop hurting everyone, including myself. The older woman's eyes glisten despite herself. You sound just like your father when he left the company to chase his foolish dreams. And look where it got him. Buried in debt and shame. Alex's tone breaks slightly. I'm not running away. I just want to live honestly. Mrs. Puang stares at him for a long time, eyes darting between her son and the woman beside him. Finally, she turns abruptly, tears slipping down her cheek. Then do whatever you want, but don't come crying to me when you lose everything. She strides back to the car, door slamming shut. The engine roars, and dust swirls as the vehicle disappears down the dirt road. Tuna stands frozen, heart pounding in her chest. Alex, I'm so sorry. He takes her hands, shaking his head. Don't be. She'll need time. They stand in silence, the tension slowly giving way to a quiet ache. Above them, gray clouds begin to break, sunlight streaking across the sky. Later that evening, after feeding Henry and cleaning up the yard, Tuna finds Alex sitting by the old wooden fence, watching the horizon. She brings him a cup of warm tea, sits beside him without a word. Do you regret it? She asks softly. He shakes his head. No, but I hate that it hurts her so much. Tuna leans her head on his shoulder. Parents just fear what they can't control. Maybe one day, she'll see what I see too. Alex smiles faintly. What do you see? Tuna looks at him, eyes shimmering under the fading light. A man who's trying to build something real, not for the world, but for his heart. He chuckles quietly, turning to her. Then I guess I'm lucky you're here to remind me what that means. Night descends over the farm, soft and still. Inside, baby Henry sleeps soundly, and outside, two hearts sit side by side, worn, bruised, but unbroken.